Afternoon or evening, everyone. So all community council for December 17th. I don't see any council members on at the moment. I know that a couple reached out saying they didn't have internet or power. So hopefully we'll have some folks join. But I will just go ahead and kick it to public comment, which it's county staff. So I don't think there's any public comment on non-agenda items, but I'll leave that open.
Dave, if you need to go to the airport, feel free.
Well, I will soon, but I'm just wondering if we need to wait and see if any community council members or non-county staff join us, which otherwise we're talking to ourselves basically.
But it's recorded, and when their electricity comes back on, they'll be able to see Aaron's amazing presentation on the dashboard.
Excellent point. Excellent point.
But we could also do it another time if folks are thinking that would be more appropriate. But I don't know. I feel like we're all here. It's recorded. Aaron, you can. Is it Aaron or who else is speaking? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just me, Juanita. Although I have backup here too, so.
Yeah, go for it. We'll just get this recorded.
Okay. So you want me to just start right now?
Yeah, unless you feel like we should do something different.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you, Aaron. This is recorded, but we could also have you present in January if that seems more appropriate too. I know one council member said she'd be here, but
okay. Well,
we'll
I
see.
can get started on it, and then if it's recorded, and then if the council members are able to look at it, and if they have questions, they could always reach out to us. Or I could also come back in January and, give a very abbreviated version as well. If that works.
Let's get it out there, get it recorded, and then hopefully future Aaron won't have to do this again.
It's okay. Well, it looks like you're still in the office. I'm at home, so.
Only because there's good internet here. So
true. All right. Well, so I'll get started. And this is intended to be a fairly informal presentation. We just wanted to let the community councils know about a new dashboard that we created that provides an overview of county funds that the county through three different, have a great trip, Dave. That the county grants out to different nonprofits and community groups and basically people in the community throughout. Sorry, my cat's behind me. What we did was, first thing, we created an inventory where we gathered all of the different funding sources that the county has through different means, through mill levies, through just direct allocations. And we put those together and we pulled together a dashboard. And so really the dashboard was just an opportunity as we've looked into what other communities are doing, but it really helps people be able to see and interact with and understand data better. And our goal is also to provide additional transparency for the public and hopefully some increased engagement as well by people seeing what the money is spent for, what programs it's supporting, and hopefully they can see, benefit to the community as well. So really it's intended to tell that story, to go beyond the numbers and what grant funds truly pay for. So I'm going to share my screen to bring to the to the dashboard. And have to just find the spot where I have it. I don't see it. But that's okay, because I could probably find it again. See if I can just do this. So can you see my screen right now?
We see a Google,
Google,
landing
yes.
page, yeah.
So I was going to say the easiest way to find, you know, the grants dashboard is just to look on our grants and community resources website. It's part of Missoula County. We do have a friendly URL if anybody wants to ever include it in a newsletter or anything like that, but this is an easy way to find it. There's a spot right here that says Missoula County Funds Grant Dashboard. This is also found on the commissioners page and on our county funds page as well. So if you click on it, it will open into this dashboard. There it is. So can you see that as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the landing page that you get to when you get to the dashboard. It provides an overview of really the funding itself. Basically, that there's been $3.47 million in local funding that was allocated through July 1st of 2025 through that will go towards through July 30 or June 30th of 2026. And it funds a variety of projects across the county. It represents 12 different grant programs that are funded by mill levies, voter approved bonds and levies. And then we also get a small direct allocation of federal funding for one of the programs that's about to expire. So, this provides a general overview. And then these 12 grant programs are funded through 3 different departments within the county. And that's our department, Grants and Community Resources. It's the Historical Museum at Fort Missoula, and also Lands, Culture, and Recreation. So it shows that we provide funding to 52 different community partners. As I mentioned, the total amount of funding that goes out, and that it has helped fund 64 different projects this year. These tabs on the side are how you navigate through the dashboard to learn more about certain items. Here's the funds category, and this provides a general overview of those 12 different funds that were mentioned. Again, here's just a reminder of the kind of total overview, but then we have information about the funds itself. So for instance, here, if you click on this one, it's the open space bonds, and this was a voter approved bond that purchases land and helps fund conservation easements. And it's all about making improvements and making land more publicly accessible in Missoula County. There was one project, although this has funded numerous other projects over the years, just within this last year, there was one. Another one, for instance, is the Community Assistance Fund. It funds 20 different projects, and this helps fund, helps fund providers who provide services that meet the basic human needs, specifically for at-risk populations such as food, shelter, medical services, and emergency transportation. So each of these have, different just general information about the funds themselves. So that's that. And then projects goes into the specifics for each fund, how those funds are spent, how they have been allocated to fund specific projects, and what those projects do. So as we mentioned, this last year, the open space bond funded one project, and that was they had a community partner of the Five Valleys Land Trust, and it helped conserve almost 1.7 acres, or actually no, sorry, that's over 1,000 acres of in the Grass Valley, which is near the Y. So that's one possibility. Parks and Trails bonds have funded a variety of projects this year. There's the Butler Creek Trail construction. with the Butler Creek Trail Association, Rock Creek Confluence Trails, Marshall Mountain, and then I know a lot of our community councils help represent our, the rural areas of our community. And so this also, we have our rural grant program, which has helped fund a variety of programs in the rural communities. So for instance, there's this Clinton After School Bike Club, a historical exhibit at, was sponsored by the Bonner Milltown History Center, but the exhibits at the Kettle House Brewery, some other things in Bonner, Frenchtown soccer field upgrades. There's the Blackfoot River Youth Hockey Club. And so there's just a real variety of things that have been supported through this fund throughout the county. The Sealy Lake has a pollinator garden, help provide some additional services for a porta potty and hand washing station to help address some of the summer traffic that happens up there. So there's really a wide variety of projects that have been funded through all these different grants. And we really encourage people to click on to this dashboard, click on the different buttons, see what's happening, see what projects are doing. I mean, there's some really great work being done. So this tab is really intended to show some of the impact of these grants. And basically, it's how taxpayer dollars are reinvested to provide key support for these a variety of projects. And they really benefit most if not all of Missoula County residents, I'd say. So these two graphs they talk to each other. They are, so if you click on supportive services, for instance, some of those supportive services help all county residents. Some help youth, some help people who are unhoused, and some help low to moderate income people. Outdoor recreation, it benefits, some of it's all the county, some of it's youth, some of it's rural. So these kind of talk back and forth, but it also goes on the flip side. So if you want to see, what's helping unhoused people in Missoula County, obviously housing is one, supportive services, and medical care. Renters are getting help with housing. Senior citizens, they get some help with food insecurity. So there's, it shows that relationship between those two things, both the general categories of what the projects are and who are the people being served. And lastly, this is our communities tab, and it shows a breakdown of the different communities within the county and how they have been served by some of these grants. So this is right now, it's just kind of all of the projects, but these are the projects by area. So for instance, in Clinton, these are the projects that have deliver services or provide services to people in Clinton. And they might provide services to other communities as well. For instance, there might be the Kids Empower Pack program might provide services to Clinton, but also East Missoula and also Lolo, but they do help Clinton specifically as well. Countywide, these are all the things that help the whole county. Anyone in the county can get help from the Missoula Foster Child Health Program. Anyone in the county can get help from substance abuse prevention for young mothers through Mountain Home or, Pathways Domestic Violence Shelter. These can really assist anyone. Swan Valley has two projects that have been funded through county funds, and Lolo has a couple as well. So it's kind of fun to see how the different projects are reflected throughout the community, number of projects, and then the amount that's funded through that. So so that's kind of the gist of it. I didn't have much more prepared because I was hoping to leave some time for questions as well. But if anyone has questions, please let me know. And if not, I can also put my contact information into the chat if people want to reach out to us later. So does anybody have any questions at the moment?
Hi, Kelly.
Hi there.
Yeah, I've seen this presentation a few times and wandered around, so I don't have any questions. I think it's, I'm so excited that this has come together, but I didn't know if, yeah, if Kelly, if you had any questions or had heard, people complaining or, about, can't get information on grants or what's available or where the money goes. Again, I'm sad Keith Koprivica is no longer with us. Like, this is cool information that I think he would have liked.
Hey Juan, we've had a couple other folks jump on while Aaron was presenting. Aaron, I'm wondering if maybe you want to just quickly give the intro, if you will, like just kind of what you're presenting on, and that might spur a little conversation.
Oh, thanks, Chet.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks, Chet. So I actually probably never even introduced myself at the beginning because it was county folks on at the very beginning. So I'm Erin Couts. I work for the Grants and Community Resources Department, and we are part of Missoula County. And so we have two different functions within the county. We both grant out county funds that the county receives through taxpayer dollars, either through mill levies or direct allocations, things like that. And we have a variety of funds that we do that through. And then we also write and manage external grants that come into the county. Other departments do that as well, but we, that's obviously the focus of our work. So we manage a variety of grants like brownfields, community development block grants, crisis diversion grant, things like that. So we have a couple of different functions in that way. And so what we have done is we have been hearing that I think it's hard for the community to find information out about grants and what grants the county's getting in, what money the county is granting out. And so how to get that information out to the public in an easily digestible, very transparent way. And so we had been looking into, how to visually, like with data visualization, how do you make that accessible to people? And so we created a grant dashboard. At this point, it's specifically related to the county funds that the county has that are allocated out through the community. And so that was the dashboard that I was just showing. And it can be found on both the commissioner's website, or if you just Google Missoula County grants, it brings you to our website and it can be found there. And then you can get in and play around and see and the three county departments who allocate these funds into the community that's our department, the Grants and Community Resources, and then the Historical Museum at Fort Missoula, and then Lands, Culture, and Recreation, Parks, Trails, and Recreation is the other one. I always get the name wrong.
You had it right, Aaron.
I had it right. Okay, gosh, it doesn't stick in my head for whatever reason, but so that's what I was just sharing, and I'd be happy to walk through it again if that's easy or not. So I know I'm I think actually even over time at the moment, but yeah, if there's any questions about it, please, let me know either here or I did put my email address into the chat. So.
Thank you. And I guess, well, who else jumped on? I'm not sure if I'm really actually seeing everyone. Other Tom Browder.
Yep, we have Tom Browder and Steve Mazur.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this. It's just a great way to kind of see the entire community, or all of Missoula County. And yeah, this has been a lot of work. So thank you
Yeah.
for
Well, yeah, and I should mention too, our next step is that we're hoping, well, we've already started trying to pull together all now the external grants that the county gets and pull those together into a big inventory and what it funds, what departments manage each grant, how much each grant is worth, and then we will actually end up doing a second dashboard. That's the plan. Um, with those grants as well, because people seem like they've been interested in that as well. So that will be the next step, and we can always come back and present on that at that time. So, and our goal is to update this every year. So as you know, the years go by, we'll not only have trend data, but it will be updated with the new information every year. So it will be changing. So anyway, but thank you so much for having us. Oh, and Kayla, thanks, Kayla. She included a direct link to the dashboard in the chat as well. So that's great. But yeah, thanks for having us. And please reach out with any additional questions.
Thank you. Well, I think now it's just round robin. Is that correct?
Yep, we can do a quick round robin. I have a couple little notes, and I'll put this in my follow-up email. The community council ordinance will be heard again at the commissioners' public meeting on Thursday, January 8th at 2 p.m. So I'll make sure that everyone gets that link. And then I have some other opportunities that I'm going to share on behalf of Ecology and Extension. There's some upcoming events in January, so look for those in my update email. And then if you want, Commissioner, I can go ahead and do a quick round robin.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Kelly, have anything to share tonight besides no
Sure.
internet?
There's no power here in Houston, but I have young people in my house who have skills. So we literally fired up a generator and Starlink for my meeting. So technology is really cool. But it may be why there may be some other people missing, because I don't think we're the only ones without power tonight. And in Houston, when you lose power, you also lose any form of cellular connection or Wi-Fi, because that's how a lot of us get that. So everything is moving along nicely. I do have some follow-up questions that I'm happy to visit with staff about later on the topic of the new ordinance. Having reviewed both the old bylaws and documents and handbook from the community councils and the draft, there's just a couple of things, and one of them being number of people. And I'd love to hear a little more of the background on why, if we're struggling to fill a ballot, we would like to have 7 on our community council instead of 5. And I know some of the councils, like Lolo and Sealy, are quite a bit older. I just have some questions, and I know it wasn't on the agenda tonight, and I wasn't able to get online for the non-agenda items. But I do very definitely have some questions on behalf of our community council, specific to number of council members was definitely one of a concern. And then just the whole bylaw process, from a legal standpoint, are we going to go through, will that also be an entire hearing process? I just have some questions. So if you would point me in the right direction as to who to visit with, just to get some clarification so that I can take that back to our community council, that would be amazing. And I had 3 pages worth of notes that I do not, and they're here. Where they are, I don't know. They're in the dark. But otherwise, West Valley is moving along nice, and we had a good meeting last week, and attendance is starting to rise, which is beautiful. That's one of our goals, is to increase our community engagement. non-council, but heard from our community is they're still continuing to watch the town pump development very closely. And I guess there's a community group, again, outside of the council, that has commissioned their own traffic study, which I think is awesome. From my own personal perspective, I think it's very cool that they're trying to stay engaged. I know there's just a lot of concerns. So that is, while that is outside of the purview of the county commissioners, as best we understand it, I just wanted you all to know that the community itself is still keeping a close eye on how that develops and doing what they can to limit, I guess, the impact of that, especially in the spot that they've seemed to have selected. And if you all at the county hear anything about anything, there's a group that would love to know about it, and Juanita, I can get you their direct contact. If anybody hears anything on liquor license, on traffic study, on anything, whether or not they're going to be going in front of for a hearing for a drilling permit. I know there are very interested community members that if you all at the county had anything they could attend, I know they would do it. So I think that's everything I have.
Thank you. And Kyla or Chris, or I don't know, who, do you want to take a stab at the questions around the council ordinance, or do you want to chat with Kelly offline if she has like specific
Yeah.
questions that have to be answered?
Kelly, I'm happy to chat with you offline and answer some of those questions. And then once you, as the council has discussed it, if you have like official comment or like suggestions or concerns, you can send that to Chris Lounsbury. He's keeping track of those comments just for the hearing purposes. But just to quickly answer, the number of members is we were trying to make them very much more like an advisory board, and most other advisory boards are on the 7 to 9 to a little bit larger size. And then we wouldn't have to reduce councils that currently have 7 members. So the thought process behind that was just to make them all consistent for the seats.
Yeah, and I understand that. And so I will make sure that we submit some comments on, if not the council, for sure myself, just on the way it was originally written when we did the original resolutions, where it said 5 or 7. That, just from my perspective, seems a little bit more appropriate, considering, we have a couple of councils that we just got to 5, and you guys know that better than I do. It was a long time when there was only, 2 or 3 active council members, and to field a quorum of 4 it wouldn't have happened. And then, of course, the way it's written, if you don't have a quorum over 6 months, you're dissolved. And I would hate to see that happen. So I understand the logic for trying to make things more uniform. But unfortunately, I think we have such a diverse group of community councils. Lolo is different than Houston, and Houston is different than, Sealy. So, but again, Kyla, yes, I look forward to visiting with you. And because I do want to understand, I have no doubt lots of really great thought went into, this draft version. And I do recognize that it's a draft, and there is still room for editing. So yeah, I'll follow up.
Hey, Juan,
Great.
if I can just add to that,
Yeah.
to what Kyla said, and Kelly, thanks for your questions too, and definitely connect with Kyla for some more detail on the number of members too, as we shifted, at least in that proposal, from elected, where you've got to actually get on the ballot to find those spots. We would consider this an appointment process, much like the rest of our advisory boards. So we're hoping that barrier maybe for some folks who maybe don't want to get on a ballot, or they feel like that's it's confusing or it's too hard, that maybe it would be easier to get folks who are willing to at least put their name in the hat for an appointment. So that was one of the other thought process behind that. And then in terms of bylaws, the idea behind it, and again, this is one to talk with Kyla a little bit more about, is to hopefully simplify that process. So we would not anticipate a bylaw process that would require a bunch of additional like higher level approvals or anything like that. Hopefully that'd be more administratively directed and kind of handled. But talk to Kyla more about the details of kind of what's in the proposal on that as well.
Thanks, Chet.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on. Steve, did you have anything you wanted to share or update on tonight?
Nothing to share. Just wanted to check in.
Great, thanks for joining tonight. Tom, anything to share?
So up here in Sealy, it's dark as well, and for some reason my camera won't come on. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. It's thanks to Whole House Generator and Starlink, everything's normal, at least in my house. But a couple of things. One is we do appreciate, even though I missed a lot of the grant thing, we really like that because, I mean, just one example, recently, Clearwater Resource Council, one of our longtime nonprofits up here, is working with the county on a grant, septic education type thing that, our other, we rely on a lot of our nonprofits up here, and for them to be able to get to the array of grants out there without having necessarily to come to the council, I think is great. I mean, of course, we help them when we know about it, but I just think it's a great service for us, so we appreciate that. And one other thought we've been a 7-member council for, I don't know, 30 plus years. And well, we've all been through times when it's like pulling teeth to get people to run. When you do get up to that full, when you get all 7, then it makes a huge difference, and it allows us to, kind of cover the range of the community, working council members, retirees, people in the schools, and so forth. So I'm a big fan of 7. Otherwise, we didn't, I think between Sealy and Condon, there are like 1,800 people without power now. So pretty dark. We assume come tomorrow, things will get lighter. The most bizarre thing we've been going through is the weather, of course, because like 4 inches of rain in December. What does that mean? So all the snow is gone. 2 things that I think we hear. Oh, one thing that came out of our council meetings end of 2024, early 2025, was a group that concerned about community decay, community safety, animal control, garbage around. And they now have coalesced into a group called the Blackfoot Clearwater,
Neighborhood Watch.
Neighborhood Watch, right. I think they got their own 501c3, which is awesome. So they can now get grants. They meet monthly. The county departments, and public health groups like that, Sheriff's Department have been good about working with them. And it was really nice to see when, some problems that had festered for years came to the council. We had some interesting meetings, let's say, but the community put together these groups, sort of like West Valley and the town pump thing. And again, there was no funding involved from the council, but it was more encouragement. Maybe a couple of the council members would kind of help them, how you write a mission statement, how you organize, what bylaws are all about. So again, that's good. Up here, I think the ordinance going from elected to appointed is, you know, when I look at our autonomous boards, districts, hospital, cemetery, I think everybody really appreciates if everything were appointed, it would maybe take a lot of the angst out of some of what we see in a rural community. But otherwise, you know, we expect business as usual. We'll meet again we do not meet in December. We'll meet again January and pretty much have a full agenda already. So yeah, that's what's happening up here. We've expanded what we used to call Winterfest to a number of activities. First of which Saturday was going to be a polar dip, jump in the lake. Well, there's no ice on any of the lakes. And there was a Grizz game. So we moved that to late January and we hope there'll be some ice. And, you know, we'll hope some of this precip turns into snow and not rain. But yeah, so that's the scoop from Sealy.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you joining tonight. That's everybody tonight. Juanita.
Okay. Well, I hope everyone has happy, safe, healthy holidays, and we'll see you in January. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good night.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Okay.